Have you ever had that feeling that the universe is winking at you? That eerie sense that coincidence is flirting with something a little bit deeper, some invisible thread running through time? Well, today that thread runs straight from the 1980s. No, it doesn't. Well, today that thread runs straight from the 1890s, through Nikola Tesla's laboratory, past the glided tower on Fifth Avenue, and somehow lands, improbably, undeniably, in our modern headlines. Because this isn't just a story about Donald Trump. It's a story about books written more than a century ago about Baron Trump, time portals, Tesla's secret experiments, John G. Trump, and Elon Musk's Mars project. Yes, it sounds insane, which is precisely why it's fascinating. Yes, hello, welcome to the channel. It's me, Chris Brooks. I hope everyone's well. In 1893, an American lawyer and author named Ingersoll Lockwood published a curious trilogy. The first was Travels and Adventures of Little Baron Trump, then Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, and finally 1900, or The Last President. Now, Lockwood's protagonist, young Baron Trump, lives in a castle in Germany, guided by a mysterious mentor named Don Thumb, who sends him to the underground tunnels in Russia, where he finds portals to other worlds. Sound familiar already? A Trump from a castle, a mentor whispering of hidden realms, and portals in the East. The final book, The Last President, begins in New York, with a populist president living on Fifth Avenue, whose election sparks riots and economic chaos. His vice president, a man named Pence, written in 1896. Now, at the same time as Lockwood was writing these books, Tesla was living in New York on the very same street. Tesla, the visionary scientist, was experimenting with electricity, magnesium, and what he called scalar energy, forces that he believed could bend time and space. He once claimed that he had seen the past, present, and future simultaneously. And then, in 1943, Tesla dies alone in New York in a hotel, and his blueprints, rumoured to contain secrets of wireless energy, anti-gravity, and yes, time manipulation, well, they were all seized by the US government. And who was sent to examine those papers? A scientist named John G. Trump, Donald Trump's uncle, a respected engineer working with the Office of Scientific Research and Development. Now, what are the odds of a man that would one day father America's most infamous billionaire president had an uncle entrusted with Tesla's most controversial papers? Now fast forward a few years to 1953, Wernher von Braun, the German rocket scientist, who'd go on to found NASA, and let's not forget his ties with the older... Well, he published a science fiction novel, Project Mars, a technical tale. In that story, humanity colonises Mars under the leadership of a figurehead, a man named Elon. Nearly 70 years later, Elon Musk, founder of SpaceX, is literally building rockets to colonise Mars. So Lockwood writes of Baron Trump and Pence, Tesla explores time travel, John G. Trump seizes the papers, and von Braun writes about Elon taking mankind to Mars. It's either an astonishing chain of coincidences in modern history, or the universe has a delicious sense of irony. Now, perhaps we shouldn't leap straight away into conspiracy. After all, fiction precedes life all the time. Jules Verne imagined submarines. Before submarines existed, H.G. Wells foresaw the atomic bomb. But there is something archetypal about these patterns. Baron Trump, Don Thumb, Tesla, time travel, portals, Mars, Elon. It's almost as though humanity is remembering itself, recycling the same rhythmic template. The brilliant inventor, the chosen child, the rise and fall of empires, and the dream of ascension beyond Earth. Good luck. In mythology, these aren't separate stories. They're iterations of a singular narrative. Prometheus stealing fire, Icarus chasing the sun, modern man seeking domination over time itself. And here's where the Russell Brand-styled eyebrows lift. What if reality isn't linear? Tesla once said that the universe is a core of frequency and vibration. Physicists today say something similar, Reality is information, maybe even a simulation. If everything is code, maybe certain stories repeat themselves because they're part of the program, the cosmic operating system. We notice the same names, Trump, Elon, Tesla, not because of coincidence, but because we're trapped in some kind of loop. And maybe, just maybe, that's why it all feels so familiar. Now, whether or not there is a literal time machine, there is definitely something deeper at play. These patterns speak to our obsession with power, technological, political and metaphysical. Tesla chased infinite energy. Von Braun reached for the heavens. Trump embodies material dominance. And Elon Musk looks to escape the earth entirely. Each, in their own way, seeks transcendence, to become larger than morality, larger than history. And perhaps that's the point. The myth repeats until we learn it's a lesson, that true advancement isn't technological, but conscious. Until humanity evolved inwardly, we'll just keep building bigger machines, and then calling it progress. So maybe this entire Trump, Elon, Tesla, time conspiracy isn't a literal map of history, but a mirror, showing us how our own fascination with destiny, coincidence and control. As Ingersoll Lockwood wrote, fiction that echoed the future, maybe we too be writing tomorrow, right now through our thoughts, beliefs, our technologies, our stories. Because if time is indeed a circle, then the question isn't whether Trump or Tesla cracked the code. The question is whether we will recognise the pattern before it starts to loop again. But let me know what you think in the comments. Look after yourselves, and I will speak to you all again soon. Bye for now.